Hi, this is Max this year with S.T.A.R Productions, spiritually trained and renewed productions, where it's not enough to be talented, you have to be spiritually trained and renewed. I have a treat for you today. You'll never guess who's sitting on my left. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back. Max with S.T.A.R Productions, spiritually trained and renewed productions. Today, you're not gonna believe it. I have the one and only, well-known in Nashville and abroad, Tosha Marie Pendergrast.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to S.T.A.R Productions.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's exciting having you. I'm glad after 4 or 5 months of chasing her down, she finally has some time. And we want to talk a little bit about the things that you do. You do something that I think is so pivotal to the entertainment world, and something that without it, everything becomes dead. You are a choreographer, dancer, and many more that I'm about to discover in this interview. My first question to my guest is always the same. Could you tell us who is Tosha Marie Pendergrast?
Well, I am a Nashville native. There aren't very many of us left here anymore. But
I'm surprised. You're my first guest who's a native.
Really?
Here.
See? We're just few and far between, apparently. But I was born and raised here in Nashville. Local homegrown girl. I went to school. I went Julia Green, and then Meg's, and then Hume Fogg. Before I left and went to Oklahoma City University as a dance performance major. And then I moved back here and met my husband and just really settled back into Nashville life.
You and I would go way back during the days of Circle Players, where I used to preside over the company. And I've seen you choreograph some big numbers. Among them was Ragtime. And that's when I got introduced to the world of Tosha Marie. And I'm like, whoa. So without having the right choreographers on board, the show is just not the same. Could you tell us a little bit about your life as a choreographer? How did you get started in that world? And you're a dancer as well, and still dancing. How did that get started? Which one came first?
Well, I've always had a passion for performing. I loved, even when I was little, just any opportunity to be in front of people and just do whatever, whether it was acting, singing, dancing. I always just really had an affinity for entertaining people. And so I started out in just school plays and musicals. In elementary school, we did a production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Ooh.
And I played the skunk. Yeah. And I loved it. And then my mom put me in dance classes. But at the time, I really wanted to be a pop star. I wanted to be Whitney Houston.
Ooh.
I had the haircut, and everything. I thought I was going to be Whitney Houston. But I always enjoyed dancing, so I kept taking classes. And then I started working with Lifeway Christian, doing their choir curriculum videos. I was one of the kids in that. And then I got hired on as a Cedar Mont Kid, which is like a Christian sing-along child group. And so I started doing those videos and singing and dancing for them. And then I got hired by Kathy Hill Productions she's a musical writer. And so I would go into the studio and give voice to, I do voiceover work and singing work. And then she was like, hey, do you want to choreograph the musical? So at the ripe old age of 12, I was like, yes, let's do it. So that's really what started my passion. And I always did stuff with my church and all of the church musicals, and I'd go on mission trips and do music camps in Kosovo and in New York City. And it just really started becoming a huge passion of mine.
Wow.
Yes, dancing, but that's the most joyous part of it was teaching dance to other people.
Wow.
And,
what a colorful background.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I noticed on Facebook that you are the co-owner and director of a company called Protrack.
The Protrack.
The Protrack. Get it right, Max. The Protrack. Could you tell us a little bit about that company? I noticed on Facebook, on their cover page, they had a few mottos such as train, grow, dance. Tell us a little bit about the Protrack.
Well, my good friend Dorinda Walker has been like a guide and a mentor to me, and I was really kind of struggling with where to go next in my career. And I was talking to her and I was like, look, I really want to open my own studio. And she was like, well, just so happens that my husband and I, because they own the Protrack, want to, expand, and we think you'd be a great fit. And they asked me to come on board with them. And I was like, yes, a million times yes. Because the Protrack is known to train people who really have a drive and a passion. It's not people who are forced to come to dance class. It's people who really want to train and grow and become passionate dancers and just live their best lives while dancing.
Wow.
And so I am so blessed and honored that they brought me in and that I get to work with them and teach dance to Nashvillians.
Wow. Isn't it always amazing when you wake up every day and you go do the things you love?
It's truly remarkable. It's incredible. I've had times when I haven't been able to dance and everything, and I was just kind of like trudging through life, and now I'm skipping through it. It's great.
Yes. You wake up differently in the morning.
Yeah, you really do. You really do.
I love it. Love it. All right. So, did you always want to choreograph dance routines? Is that always something you wanted to do?
I think it's something that I always did and enjoyed doing, but I didn't know that I wanted to do it until later in life.
Gotcha.
Like, I've always wanted to teach people. When I was in like 5th grade, I would teach like 3rd grade, in Sunday school.
Wow.
And I've always just been camp counselors and any opportunity, assistant teachers. Whenever I could assist someone, I was like, can I just come and teach with you? I just love it. And so that's always been there, but the creative part of it for me mainly was performing.
Yeah.
Until I kind of stopped choreographing, and then I felt like something wasn't right. I was like, yeah, I like performing, but I feel like I'm missing something. And then when I got the ability to choreograph, then I was like, that's what it was.
Wow.
That's what it was. I need to be creating dances myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's exciting. Is musical theater the only medium that you use to choreograph, or do you venture into film to choreograph dance somewhere else besides musical theater?
Yeah, I love doing musical theater just because it gives me a variety of different styles that I can do. Within one show, I can do a ballet piece, a tap piece, a hip hop piece, a traditional musical theater piece. We can have a kick line, it's great stuff. But I do choreograph whenever and wherever I can, honestly. I work with a lot of studios to choreograph routines for recitals, and I do music videos. I've choreographed a few of those. And I do dance teams for schools when they go to competitions and performances like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, in terms of choreography, take us through your work week when you're in season. What does that look like?
Ooh, in the middle of busy time, I basically wake up, snooze, wake up again, snooze one more time, wake up again, and then I immediately check my calendar just to see what I have going throughout the day. I would not survive without my calendar. Then, depending on the day, like especially during summertime, I usually teach at a camp, and then I'll go do another camp, and then I'll teach classes, and then I'll go to rehearsals.
Wow.
Yeah, and in between all that, I eat in my car, and I kind of live out of my car.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I go home and try to relax and spend some time with my husband, and
That's a
usually
busy
pass
life.
out on the couch
Yeah.
because I'm so tired. Yeah,
Wow. That's exciting. That's exciting.
but I love it. I do. Yeah.
Wow. What are the things you like about dancing and choreography?
So dancing is just such a great way to express yourself, and sometimes when you can't verbalize what you're feeling, just being able to move and let the spirit move you to just release whatever's inside of you is a great way to have that kind of expression. And I absolutely love that. And as far as choreography goes, I love telling stories. So any opportunity I get to really tell any kind of story, whether it's purely for entertainment or if it's to, teach something, whatever the purpose is. I love creating things that portray that.
Are there anything you don't like about your job as a choreographer?
It's a lot of work on your body. Like, I can barely move today. I've spent the past 5 days super dancing.
Wow.
And at my age, I'm starting to feel my age, so it's not as easy as it used to be. And I lose my voice a lot.
16?
Oh, no. Well, thank you. Thank you. I lose my voice a lot. I'm actually really hoarse because on Saturday we just had the Spotlight Awards at Lipscomb University, which is the Nashville High School Musical Theater Awards.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And I taught some workshops, and by some I mean 4. And dancing for 4 hours straight in a room full of teenagers is so fun and exciting, but I literally lose my voice, and it takes a toll on my body as well. And then we're right in the middle of auditions for a musical that I'm choreographing. So again, it's exhausting, but I love it. I absolutely love it.
See, I didn't know. That's a good revelation for me. I didn't know that a dancer by trade actually gets tired physically. I thought, just like working out, once you get into the routine, your body gets used to it. I didn't know that there are times when you dance so much, you actually feel it.
Yes.
Even though you've been doing it for years.
Yeah. Well, especially because when you start teaching and choreographing, you don't necessarily do everything full out all the time. I have assistants and people who I'm training and mentoring who I'm like, okay, well, I'll let you kind of teach this section and you choreograph this part and I'll let you demonstrate. And then I'll just, watch and be like, yes, that's right. No, let's change this. But when I go full out, I'm like, right, yes, this is what it's like to do it and go for it again. But I always enjoy when I get to actually move and groove and everything.
What kind of schooling or education do you need to be a choreographer?
So I thoroughly believe that you do need to be educated to be a choreographer. Some people think it's just throwing dances together and there's no techniques to it, and you just make up fun dances. Oh, it's not just putting dances together? No, it's not. There's a lot to go in it. You, especially if you're doing musical theater, you want to study all the genres of dance you can, because you have to put it into all the shows. You can't just rely on one genre to do a whole entire show. And then there's also things like music theory and choreography theory. It's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of intricacies that people don't realize. So I'm very grateful for the education that I've had.
Yes.
I've studied ballet, tap, jazz, musical theater, specifically rhythm tap. I've taken some hip hop. I've done some step. I've tried to get in ballroom. I've tried to get in salsa. I really try to educate myself as much as I can.
Wow.
And then, yes, my music theory classes help so much, because if you only choreograph to words, you miss so much, because music is so rich and so deep, and there's so many different components to it. I love choreographing to the background music. If there's a trumpet, you're not going to be like, you're going to be like, bow, So you got to really know what to listen for in the music. Yeah. And then accenting that is a lot of fun, especially because I love tap and I'm a rhythm person. So I hear all the different parts and all the different rhythms.
Nice. While I have you here, it's good to also, since I'm discovering the world of Tosha Marie, it's good to ask you a little bit about your musical theater background. Do you still sing and perform? Do you still act?
I try.
Too busy.
I'm really busy. I'm not gonna lie. This season coming up, out of the 5 shows at Circle Player, I'm doing 3 of them. I'm choreographing 3 of them and directing 1. I know, I love it. It's good. And so I don't have a whole lot of time for performing, but I try to when I can. I try to do at least like 1 show a year.
Wow.
Right now I'm about to start rehearsals for a couple of performances for a church. They're doing The Greatest Showman. And so we're about to start rehearsals for that. So that'll be like my thing for the year. Like it'll be a quick rehearsal process, just a few, I think we're doing 5 shows, and then I'll be like, okay, I've been on stage this year. I can breathe and focus on creating stuff.
Nice. You know, that reminds me, my musical theater mentor, Ben Harney, he's the best actor for Dreamgirls back in the 80s. I remember back in New York, he used to tell us, well, you have to do at least 1 theater a year if you're gonna stay sharp. He knows I love television and film, the magic of television. But he said, you know, if you're gonna stay sharp, you gotta do 1 musical a year, 1 theater that just gets you out there. And you're right. Yeah. And actually, that's something I miss quite a bit. I've been so busy with other part of my life. We'll visit that some other day. But I do miss the stage. There is one particular show that's happening in being rehearsed in town right now that I was supposed to audition for, but didn't because I got too much going on. I'm learning to take it easy.
It's hard.
And hold on to not putting 10 things on my plate and not being able to commit.
Have you recorded a beautiful song in the studio, but now you're ready to show the world the imagery? S.T.A.R Productions. We help tell your vision.
All right. So, tell us about the most challenging routine you ever had to teach people, or maybe you had to come up and create in your head yourself. What does that look like?
Well, I could answer 2 different ways. The most challenging thing for me to choreograph was Carrie the musical, just because I had a really cool idea, because if you're familiar with the story, like Carrie goes crazy and basically kills everybody. Yes. Sorry. But the beginning of the musical, I wanted to do, they start out where they die. And so I wanted to kind of do their death in reverse through dancing. So the last number of the musical, they're running, they're dancing, and they're doing all this before their demise. And so then the beginning of the musical, I literally had to rewind. It looked like they were being rewound, like literal, the exact choreography, but backwards.
Yes.
And that was so much harder than I thought it would be. It was a real challenge for me creatively, and having to figure out, okay, if we move back that way, then they have to come up this way. And so it was a lot of work, but man, they pulled it off, and it looked so good. I'm so proud of my cast. Thank you guys for trusting me.
Well, I applaud that.
Oh,
That's genius.
Yeah,
That's creative.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me, I think Wicked started from the end, if I remember well.
There's a lot of musicals that kind of start that way. Yeah.
Wow. Is Carrie coming back into town? I gotta watch that.
No, unfortunately, I'm done with that one. I think a chorus line, I'm co-directing that with Jason Lewis, and I'm choreographing it, which is one of my all-time favorite dream musicals to choreograph.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That'll probably be the most technically difficult thing. So get ready for those auditions, guys.
Yes, indeed.
It's gonna be good, but it's gonna be hard. But I'm excited. We gonna dance.
Yeah. What choreography you have done that still remains memorable to you today?
I love working with kids, and so when I get to choreograph things for studios, those dances always hold a place in my heart. And I got to do a big tap piece for the Bellevue Dance Center, where I used to teach full time, and I had, I think it was like 45 girls, maybe 50 girls on stage doing a tap dance to the final countdown.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were in these hot pink wigs and like really futuristic looking things, and it was one of just seeing that, because that was like my first big production number. Seeing that on stage, this is before I started choreographing musicals for Nashville theaters and everything. I was like, okay, this is pretty sweet. And so that moment will always resonate with me, seeing all my girls up there doing it and executing that choreo.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can one survive paying the bills, choreographing in Nashville?
Oh, I wish. I do a lot of shows because you have to.
Passion work?
It's passion work. It's really passion work. Honestly, if I didn't have such a supportive husband, not only emotionally, but also financially.
Go Ben!
Go Ben! We love you! I mean, I couldn't do it. I would have to still serve tables and stuff. And so many working artists out there have to do it. Unfortunately, in Nashville, even though the art and the talent is there, we need more people coming to stuff so we can start paying the people involved more.
Yes.
And I've been able, fortunately now I'm far enough into my career where I have the opportunity to say no to things that aren't paying anymore, and where I can negotiate my fee and everything. So I'm making more now than, of course, when I first started. When I first started, you do anything and everything you can do for free to practice and build your brand and,
yes,
to learn and to grow.
Yeah.
And fortunately now I've paid my dues, and so now I'm able to start charging more, and I'm getting to where I could be financially viable by myself.
Nice.
By just teaching
Nice.
dance and choreographing. But you have to teach as well. Just choreography is not going to do it.
You
have
gotta
to
teach.
You have to teach as well. Yeah.
And I have to say, somebody of your caliber, I've seen you at work, and I know that you are gifted. When you bring those things on stage, you deserve to be rewarded.
Thank you.
You know, Bible says that your gift will make way for you. And it makes sense that there's only few like you.
Thank you so much.
In Nashville, there are very few like you, and you should be rewarded. So I will back up what you say and say that companies should have a bigger budget for their productions. And part of it should include choreography and knowing that they're going to bring somebody on board who knows what they're doing. And they know that as a result, they're going to get a great show.
Right.
Yeah.
But we need more people seeing shows. So support your local theaters.
Absolutely. You know, Nashville, I tell my New Yorkers all the time whenever they want to come down here, they're like, what's to do? I said, what? We might have more plays here than you do in New York.
Oh, yeah.
All right, they might be mad right now watching this, but it's true. There's always a show in town.
Yes.
Always.
Always.
If I wanted to go on a date every day to watch a show, I'll probably find a show to watch every day.
You could.
That's how busy it is here.
Yeah.
But like you said, you got to come and see the shows, kind of come and support the arts in Nashville.
I mean, we have the 4 big theaters, but then there's a lot of dinner theaters and community theaters and regional theaters that put on excellent productions.
Yes.
So
Yes,
we
indeed.
really are blessed to have the opportunity to perform where we want and have the chance to go and see amazing art.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you get time off with all that business you got going on?
Time off? What is this time off you speak of? It happens occasionally.
Yeah.
If I plan far enough in advance, I can have a little vacation time.
A 3-day
3-day
getaway.
vacation time. I'm actually at the end of July going to New York City with my best friend. Surprised me for my 30th birthday. She got me tickets to see Britney Spears in New York. She's my favorite. And so we're going down, and of course I'm gonna take her to see shows, and it's still technically like research for me. Like, I mean, I go to see
artist.
shows to enjoy them, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I gotta see all the shows because this is work. I gotta know what's going on in the theater today. But I get some time off. I try to schedule some time, and hubby and I still go on date nights and everything.
Good.
So
Good.
it happens. It depends on the season.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I have the utmost respect for you and your ability to listen to a song and read some lyrics and listen to some beats that, to me, as a dancer, non-choreographer means nothing to me. And you can take those and transform them into something artistic that we can enjoy. A lot of people undermine what you do. What do you think is the most, if you have a few misconceptions about your job out there?
Yeah, I think people think that it is really easy and that you can just show up and teach people stuff. It's not. It's so much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
I've run into people who are like, well, we can just have someone choreograph the show. It's not going to be a big deal.
Right, I read that
But
before.
choreography really does make a show.
Yes.
Like, it really does. It's so important. If you were to go see Chicago, the musical, with just everybody standing and singing, it'd be beautiful, but you'd be missing so much of the story that is told through the dancing.
Yeah.
And so, for me, like, I wish people would recognize that there are qualities that make people good at what they do. And it's not just creating dances, but it's also knowing how to teach them as well.
Yes.
And so they're completely different skill sets. And most people don't recognize that you have to have both skill sets to be a truly successful choreographer. The creation and then the teaching of it.
Wow. Okay, great. So what do you look for in an audition when somebody comes and audition for you for a dance routine? A non-dancer like me, I believe in my acting ability and my singing ability, but my 2 feet, they just won't respond to my brain. How do I make sure I impress you so that I book the deal? Because sometimes the casting director might like me, but you're like, there's no hope for this guy. We can't. So what is it we need to do to make sure we book the deal? We get casted for your shows?
Well, it depends on the show. Unfortunately, for like major dance shows, like if you have no training and you don't pick up choreography and you don't try and you don't perform, that's pretty much a no. For me, you have to have at least 2 of the 4 things. So if you're performing here, that's great. Yeah, even if you're terrified, just keep on smiling, keep on dancing.
Yes.
Even if you don't execute the moves perfectly, if you have a pretty good grasp on what happens when, and I can tell your body's moving in the direction it needs to go, I can usually sense whether or not I can work with a person. If you don't try or get really frustrated with yourself, that also sends a big red flag. So I would say even if you know you aren't a great dancer, just keep dancing and just keep performing, because chances are we're gonna see something in you, and people who are skilled teachers will be able to be like, okay, I can tell they've got something there to work with. They have a foundation. I can build on that. I can teach them. So there's 4 things that you can really think about during your audition. It's technique and execution of steps, the retention of choreography, the performance aspect, and the perseverance, right? Because if you give up or get mad with yourself and get frustrated, I'm gonna be like, I don't know if that person's gonna be easy to work with. Are they gonna be button heads with me? Are they gonna give up and walk out? I've had a lot of people do that in rehearsals, and I'm like, if you're gonna walk out of rehearsal, like, we can't work with that. Like, I understand that I'm gonna have to teach everybody everything that I'm doing, right? So just keep on trying. Don't get so down and frustrated with yourself that you're doing the combination and then you stop, or you start getting mad, or you start crying. I know auditions are really nervous. I'm a crier. I am. As soon as I'm done singing, I'm like, oh gosh, that was awful. But don't do it in the middle of the audition. Wait till you get in your car and then do it. Because I can teach anybody steps. That's what I say. I can teach anybody steps. I can't teach the heart and the passion. So as long as you're just performing and you look like you're enjoying the process in the tiniest bit, I'm gonna be like, that person, I might like to work with them.
Nice.
I can tell if you've got a foundation of dance. I can tell if you've got rhythm. I can tell if you've got, any sort of skill that I can develop into making you a dancer. But if you don't have that heart and that passion, that's something that I can't pull out of people.
That's good.
I try. I give rousing speeches. You can ask people, but it's a lot easier if you just have that natural joy.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I think the reason I got cast for a lot of gigs, musical gigs, is because though the choreographer could tell I'm not a dancer, but man, I'll fake my way to the top. I'll keep that smile going. I'm a survivor in there until I actually, move on stage. It's funny, as a non-dancer, when I go watch a musical, I could tell who's a dancer on stage and who's not.
Yeah.
The body has a way that it moves.
Yeah.
The non-dancers just don't have that flexibility in their body. You could tell. Interesting.
And what people don't realize is they get so in their head about, I shouldn't audition for this. This is a singing show and I'm a dancer. Or this is a dancing show and I'm a singer. Like we're having that right now with Newsy auditions. We've got amazing singers and not great dancers, and then amazing dancers who can't sing a note.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we need both.
Yes.
So even though people aren't genuine triple threats, you can still get booked for a job.
That's right.
You might not be singing while you're dancing, but you'll be dancing. Or you might not be dancing while you're singing, but you'll be singing.
That's right.
But you'll still get booked. You just can't limit yourself, and you can't let your fear stop you from going out for something.
Nice. Nice. Which brings me to my next question, I think, which is good news for the non-dancers like me. You do audition workshops. Could you tell us about those? Because that might be a good one for me to try out.
Yes, I do really enjoy doing audition workshops. I like giving people their best chance of getting things. Like, it's my goal as a teacher and an educator to have all of my students succeed. Like, that's really what it is. So in my audition workshops, I ask people to bring in their headshots and their resumes, and I look over them and I give notes and tips on how to best stand out and make it compliant with the way that we need to see them. And because there is a process, and you do want to have a headshot and resume, even if it's like, it's not necessary, you want to have it. And so we spend a little bit of time going over that and kind of what the audition process looks like. And then I'll teach technique, and then I'll teach a combination. And usually the combination that I do in the workshop is very similar to what I do at the actual audition.
Nice.
And so I like to give people the tools to prepare, so that way they have. So my college professor always said, luck is preparation meeting opportunity.
Absolutely.
So it's not luck when you get a part. It's literally you being prepared and having the opportunity to showcase that. So I try to give people the preparedness and the opportunity all in one fell swoop.
That's pretty cool.
And I think it's really smart for anyone, if you want to audition for something, if the director or the music director or the choreographer has any sort of class that you can go to, it's good to go ahead and get in front of them and show that, hey, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to grow. I understand that I want to work with you. I'd like to just meet you face to face. Networking is a huge thing, especially in Nashville.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
What are the things that I can do for my body as I'm getting older as a dancer? Not me, but I'm speaking for the dancers. Are there exercises out there that one can do as a dancer as you're getting older to make sure your body stays up to par with the industry?
Yes, there is. I fully believe in continuing education, so continuing to take classes. Ballet bars are a great way to keep control and tone and core support and everything. And then things like yoga is great for flexibility and mobility. Any sort of class where you can continue to move and just kind of keep things flowing is gonna help. So I recommend finding a place where you can take a yoga class or where you can take a ballet class. And even though ballet is painful, it's going to help you in the long run. It's going to keep you strong. It's going to keep you moving. My ballet teacher at Oklahoma City University, we just didn't know how old she was, but she could still kick way up here.
Whoa.
So she'd literally be like, all right, dancers, let's go. Boop. And I mean, she's got to be at least 80.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Impressive.
ballet and dance keeps you young, folks.
Yes, it does.
Just keep moving.
Look at me.
Yeah, hey, let's go.
Wow. So, in your house, I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see if Benjamin can dance too.
Oh, Benjamin's got some moves.
She-
He's got some moves. He's really good at like flowing.
Nice.
You know, so
nice.
he likes watching artists like Fiction or Les Twins.
Nice.
Just really good hip hop dancers who can animate and flow and pop and.
I'm sure
and
there's benefit,
wave.
you know, to be living with a choreographer. They can, teach you the latest move and keep you going. That should be fun.
Yes, but also at times he's like, "Let's go dancing." I'm like, "I just spent all day dancing." So unfortunately, I don't
didn't think
always
about that.
like to bring my work home with me. So, but I still try to. We still have fun.
That's a
We
good
still-
point.
we still do
I
stuff.
didn't think about that. That's a really good point. All right. So, when you think about choreography and dancing, would you say there's one that you like more than the other?
I love both.
Yeah.
That's really, really hard. But
Gotcha.
I think my ultimate joy comes from choreography and teaching people and giving them something that they didn't have before. It's the best thing to me is, yes, it's nice to get good reviews and everything, but when the cast comes up to you at the end of a run and they were like, I just didn't know I could do that, and I feel so much better about myself, and I feel like I learned so much, and I'm astonished at what we were able to do. Like, that's the best part. I'm
Very
like,
nice.
I love it. That's what makes me really happy.
That's very nice.
Although good reviews are also nice.
Yeah, those work.
those
You know,
work.
we like them. What have you worked on that maybe we should know about? There's a plethora of things that you've been doing. Tell us some of the shows you worked on.
Well, previously I've worked for Center for the Arts, Circle Players, Street Theater, Pull Tight Theater, Gaslight Dinner Theater, and
Wow.
I know I'm gonna forget someone, and it's gonna be bad.
It's all right.
And then a bunch of schools, and I'm currently the choreographer for Ravenwood High School. And then I started directing, and I just did a show with Co-Players Theater.
Cool.
And coming up, we have Newsies, which runs the first few weekends of August. And then after that, I'm choreographing Hair the Musical. I know, Aquarius. You
There's
know,
one
it's so
place.
exciting.
There's one play I wanted to do. Oh man. Hair. That's
Doing
awesome.
that, and then following that, I'm doing, like I said, a chorus line, which I'm co-directing, and then I'll be choreographing the show myself as well.
Nice.
So I'm
Wow.
super stoked about all of those.
Yeah, that's exciting. How do we keep up with you? How do we stay in touch with you, contact you, follow you? Because you are somebody we should be following and getting all those pointers on. When you have audition, we want to know about it. Tell us what are the mediums out there we can stay in touch with you?
So, of course, I'm on social media. You can follow me on Instagram at Mrs. Tosha 2U. I post a lot of my classes at the Protrack on there, my workshops, anytime I have an audition, anytime I hear about an audition, I really try to post it because I have a lot of young followers who are trying to become professional artists. So I want to give people the opportunity that I can. I also have a Facebook page. It's TMPChoreography. And then it's also Tosha Pendergrast. You can look for that as well. You'll see me pop up. My headshot will be there. And I'm not great at Twitter. I have one, but I haven't tweeted in like a year, so don't worry about that. It's mainly Facebook and Instagram. And then I have a website. So that's www.tmpchoreography.com. And you can subscribe to my newsletter, which I send out occasionally, giving information about workshops and things that I do.
Very cool. Follow her. Yes, you want to follow her. Yes, yes. What do you hope to accomplish with this ebullient career that you have? Or have you accomplished it already?
Ooh, I don't think I've accomplished everything I want to. I love what I do, and I love that it's starting to grow. I would love to... My ultimate goal is to choreograph for something on Broadway. That is my ultimate goal. I would love to choreograph something on Broadway. A new musical to where nobody has any sort of expectations. Because as much as I love choreographing things that have already been done before, everybody always has in the back of their mind that original choreography. And so they're always kind of comparing it. And so I like to do things that are completely my own. So having the opportunity to just be me and give my style on stage and create a piece for Broadway would be amazing. That's my ultimate goal. I'm still working for it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I gotta start calling my New York friends for you. Huh.
Well,
Cool.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
So obviously, you have done very well in your career thus far. Well-rounded. I take you to be a serious entertainer, choreographer, dancer, actress, singer. You know, when people look at you, oftentimes they're thinking, oh, that's great. You know, she's never had any struggle. She's never had any conflict. You know, this was handed to her on a silver platter. Tell us a little bit about the conflicts or struggles you've had even to make it thus far. And what do you say to someone who's watching you and they're discouraged, they're scared, they're afraid, they gave up, something happened in their life and they just are never gonna do this again? Or even the person who's older than you are, still got a dream inside of them, burning. They don't know what to do, but they're watching you right now. What do you say?
Well, I say that it is not all sunshine and rainbows. It can be a struggle. It can be really hard. I did get started really early and I built up confidence. And then when I was in high school, it got ripped out of me. I had a teacher who really made me feel like I wasn't talented in any way, shape, or form. And so that kind of broke my spirit a little bit, but I was still determined. So I applied for OCU, which is one of the best dance schools in the country. And I got in and I was like, okay, yes, confidence. I can do this. This is what I was meant to do. And so then I went to school there, and then I also struggled there as well. It was really, really hard. In college, it's difficult to kind of know your footing. You're really trying to discover who you are, and that's a difficult process. And doing something you love while being graded on it can also be really, really hard. I really lost myself in trying to figure out who I was meant to be and what I was meant to do, and trying to fit in and find new friends, and I felt like I became a completely different person. And then I struggled in dance as well. I'm not technically the best dancer. I have a lot of technical issues that make me not I can dance, but like I don't have dancer feet. That's a big thing in dance world. You have to have like really nice feet to point your toes and everything. I don't have those feet. I don't have the hips for turnout. You know, I've got gangly arms that struggle with executing moves. And I understand that. But the way I got all my jobs and my gigs and my things was because of my passion and my love and my performance. But in college, it's about the technique. So I actually stopped dancing my junior year, and I switched my majors to theater performance. And then I started suffering from depression, and so I actually left school and came back home, and spent some time not dancing. And I served tables, and I was just trying to figure out what I was supposed to do with my life. And then the void of not dancing was so big and so deep that I just couldn't do it anymore. So I started asking around for teaching jobs, and then my old studio, Bellevue Dance Center, hired me to come in and teach and everything, and I started finding my joy and my passion again. Then I started performing again, and then a few years after that, I've been in the industry for a while, guys, which would have been 3 years ago. Someone asked me to choreograph a musical because their choreographer backed out, and I was like, that sounds like something I'd really like to do. And so I choreographed my first musical, and it wasn't the best choreography I've ever done. Again, you learn, you grow. But it really sparked something in me. And then I spent a good year doing unpaid choreo whenever I could. And then I just started finding and seeking and actively looking for opportunities to hone my craft and grow and dance and do more. And 3 years later, everything's starting to come together. 3 years from choreography. I've been dancing for my whole entire life and started dancing professionally again about 10 years ago is when I left school. So it's been a long time coming, and it can be really hard, and the industry is really, really tough. It's based on so many different factors that you can't control. You might not get a job because your hair is the wrong color. You might not get a job because you're not the best dancer in the room, and that happens 99% of the time. You're not going to be the best person in the room, and that's okay. You just have to learn who you are and be confident in that, because that is what attracts people to you. That is how I got booked for things, not because I was the best dancer, because like I said, didn't have the feet, didn't have the hips, but because of my passion and my performance, and I would just let people see my soul while I was dancing. And so that's how I got booked for things. And so continual training and growing and everything has made me who I am today. But even when those naysayers get you down and tell you you're not good and you can't do it, and you get graded and they're like, not the best, you take a moment, take a step back, take a deep breath, remember what sparked your passion in the first place, and then pursue it.
My goodness, that was good.
Oh, thank you.
Woo! That was good. I mean, you've touched on so many things here, and I think that I've gotten so much out of it. It's easy. We have a generation now that looks at the now, just the now, not thinking there is a journey. And I'm glad that you touch on that journey a little bit for us. I mean, just listening to you in my mind's mind, in my mind's eyes, I'm just picturing all those different scenarios you talked about, the different places and different nodes that you got, getting to places where you left school, got away, came back, until that void just keep honing at you and say, you gotta come back and do what you love.
Yeah.
And here you are doing what you love, and you're so good at it. Wow, thank you. I hope somebody got something out of it. That was awesome. Let's close the show with these questions.
Okay.
Favorite dancer?
That changes depending on what mood I'm in. Yes. So I'm feeling really sassy. When I feel really sassy, I love Brian Friedman. He's fantastic. His choreography is so fierce. He used to dance for Britney Spears and choreograph for her, and his choreography is just so sharp and amazing, and he executes it so fantastically, and he's 40 and he's flipping, and
Wow.
So at the moment, because I'm feeling really sassy, he's my favorite dancer at this point in time. And again, it switches with my moods.
Favorite choreographer?
Bob Fosse, hands down. Bob Fosse, immediate answer. Just, I can't.
All right. Favorite musical?
That's really hard.
Give us a couple.
Okay. Well, the musical that started it all for me, that really sparked my passion when I was like, I want to do that, is Chicago, the musical.
Oh, that's a
Choreographed
good
by
one.
Bob Fosse. Yes. So, I absolutely love it. What else? The first musical I ever saw on Broadway was Thoroughly Modern Millie, starring Sutton Foster. So that will always have a tender place in my heart.
First musicals are always memorable.
Yeah. And then the first show I ever directed was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And I could cry just thinking about it because it was such a wonderful experience with an amazing cast who I am blessed to all, I'm able to call them all my friends, and they just trusted me on a new journey. You know, you always take new steps, even when you're established and learning things. Like directed for the first time this year, so that the fact that they trusted me to lead them on this journey was incredible, and it was a truly transformative experience. And having the audience see your baby on stage, choreographing is one thing because I'm like, how'd you like the dancing? But when you're directing, it's like, how'd you like everything? And so that was a really that was a vulnerable experience for me, just leaving all of that on stage. So that will forever hold a place in my heart now too. You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. But cool. I don't know. I love all the musicals.
Nice.
That's a lie. Not all the musicals.
Well, you know how now they've not translated, but I'm missing the word right now, taking a lot of musicals from stage and they're turning them into movies. Do you have a favorite movie musical?
I really love Rent, because I want to be Mimi one day. When I saw Rosario Dawson, do that role, I was like, I could be that.
Yes.
That's a dream role. Let's see, movie musicals.
I think I wanted a Tay Diggs role one day in Rent.
Yes.
I haven't done Rent before.
Let's put on a production. I'll be Mimi, you be Tay Diggs. There we go. There it is. Benny is his name. I mean, gosh, there are a lot of great movie musicals out there. It's really difficult.
While you think about that, tell us about one movie you find yourself watching over and over again.
Over and over and over again. See, these are the questions that I wasn't prepared to answer. Like a musical movie?
Any movie.
Any kind of movie?
Yeah.
Again, I go through spells of watching things. The movie I've probably seen the most would be The Iron Giant.
Oh, that's a good one.
That movie when he's like, I am not a gun. Oh, I love it so much. I love watching Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing is one of my favorites.
That's a classic.
Yes.
I watch that movie a lot. I watch The Holiday a lot.
Nice.
When I just need a feel-good rom-com. The Holiday is a great one. I'm more of a TV show person. I like watching a lot of TV shows, but I'm a huge Marvel fan, so I've seen all of the Marvel movies like 80 billion times and multiple times in theaters, and I still dress up to go to all the premieres.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's our show for today. Any last thing you want to say before we close today?
I would just say that no matter what your passion is, even if you go through hard times, even if you're feeling uninspired, even if you think, well, I'm not good at this, just try. Keep trying, keep growing, keep training, keep pushing through, because you are meant to do what you're meant to do. And whatever that is, whatever that may be, it will unfold if you just continue pursuing it. You never know what path you may go down or where the road may take you. So just keep on walking it and you'll get where you're supposed to be.
There you have it. Tosha Marie Pendergrast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy. This is Max with S.T.A.R Productions, spiritually trained and renewed productions, where it's not enough to be talented, you have to be spiritually trained and renewed. We hope you were blessed today. À bientôt.
Bye.